Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to day 3 of the African Food Systems Forum 2024 on the Culinary Village cooking stage. So next year, I'm told this is going to be even bigger. We're going to have more cooking and a bigger space, but it's been an incredible week. We put more chairs out for today because we've been running out every day. We've had so many different discussions, so many inspirations, and as we head into this final day, I just want to take a moment to reintroduce myself. My name is Paul Newnham. I am the CEO at the SDG2 Advocacy Hub and the founder of the Chef's Manifesto, which is a network of chefs that are in over 120 countries around the world with 1,500 chefs working on the Sustainable Development Goals. It's absolutely incredible to see what's been happening with over 4,000 people, almost 5, coming together at the African Food System Forum. And this wouldn't happen without the support of so many organizations that have been so actively involved, from AGRA to FAO to the MasterCard Foundation and many, many more. I'm not going to try and mention everyone because I'm sure I will forget, but you'll see them around here, the people that make this possible. And as we get started, I just wanted to invite Pate up really quickly because he's here. He's the Managing Director for the African Food System Forum. Just come quickly and say hello. He's a very busy man, and he has been personally very, very supportive of trying to bring chefs here, to bring together the conversation, and working day and night to do this. So I just wanted to acknowledge you and the work that you've done and the team that you're working with, but also thank you, and just I couldn't resist to invite you just to say hello.
Thank you very much, Paul, and thank you and your team and all the chefs you brought from all over the world, and also shaping this space. And I think now it is an institutionalized space within the Africa food system. For some, if you ask me why, I believe, all of us at noon we are going to have food, and we are all having good food, and we are happy. But that food is coming from, our house, our mom, some people also who more innovative, and making it better and better. And I think we need to recognize also the chefs wherever we are, in the world. They're the people who are putting that quality, upgrading and going beyond and beyond. So you can, when you're enjoying your food, you say, wow, and that feeling go beyond just a feeling of eating, but it's also a feeling of identity. Because they transmit identity, they transmit culture, they transmit also knowledge. And it travels across the world, and you can go anywhere else. If you find the food from one country being showcased by a chef there, and that you like it, you will go. So I think what you have done here is amazing. We have chef from Rwanda, but also sharing with others from the rest of the world. We want also to show the rest of the world that the African cuisine is really great. And again, how do we take it to the rest of the world? Make sure that you go to Asia, you will wake up and go to an African restaurant, because there is also culture and greatness which we all put into it. And that's why I think this is something which we need to continue to preserve. It is really a baby we need to grow and then continue to shape as we move forward. And I think we can only thank you, Paul, with the leadership, but also other chefs who have joined. And it's really like a movement, and we'll continue to support and look also for support to make sure that this became something, into the AFS Forum and forever. It is part of the food system transformation we are looking for. And thank you again.
Thank you, and thank you for all the work you're doing and having us here. We really appreciate it. So we've been focused over the forum on innovating, accelerating, and scaling. And each day we've looked at one of these themes. Today we're going to be talking more about how do we scale. How do we take things and grow them so that we can deliver impact? We all know we need to deliver impact around delivering good food for all. And so we're going to kick off today's discussions with a remarkable leader who's dedicated her career to advancing the well-being of children and communities around the world. So please join me in welcoming Juliana Lindsay, the UNICEF country representative to Rwanda. So come on, yeah. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I wasn't quite ready for the hop on the stage like Pate did.
I was thinking about that as he jumped up. I was like, he set an example and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's going to be a little more challenging. But thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Appreciate the invitation.
So we're talking about how do we scale sustainable systems. We can sit if you want. Would you prefer?
I'm flexible.
How do we scale sustainable solutions in food systems? And I'd love to hear your thoughts. Organizations like UNICEF obviously have a big mandate and are working to scale solutions that really address both food security and nutrition, particularly for children, women, and vulnerable communities. So what are your thoughts around that?
Thank you. It is really important that children and their families get the right kind of nutrition. And so one of the things that we've just launched recently is called First Foods Africa.
Okay.
The aim is to try to make sure that small and medium enterprises have support to create and to sell new goods and services that will be the most nutritious for children. So it could be making sure that the flour is fortified, or it could be, a few months ago, I met a woman here in Rwanda who is taking beets, the red beets that grow in the ground. She's drying them, turning them into powder that you can sprinkle on your
Amazing.
food. And beets are incredibly high in various nutritious contents. So that's an example of a small business that one could support. We've identified, I think, over 30 small initiatives now here in Rwanda. And there are over a dozen other countries around the continent that are joining this effort as well. We hope to have all 53 as part of First Foods Africa.
Amazing. And I love that kind of, we're talking culinary here, that powder is a brilliant tool for in the kitchen for chefs and from a value addition perspective could be a really profitable business over time. Yeah. So other programs that you've scaled effectively, tell us a little bit about what are the lessons we can learn about moving those kinds of programs forward?
So one of my favorite programs that we've taken to scale is peer-to-peer counseling between mothers and mothers in villages. If you think about it, when you go to someone's house and you have a wonderful meal and you try something new, you think, wow, that was delicious. I want to try that at home. It's different from just reading it in a book or hearing it from the doctor. So we started in 5 districts training women who already had children who were very healthy to teach good nutrition practices to other mothers. Things like, I see there's some eggs over there, things like making sure that every child eats an egg every single day. Really important because it's got the perfect balance of amino acids and other nutrients that the child needs, especially when it's really little. And in fact, for the bean burger challenge that's coming up in a moment, if I get a bean burger, I'm going to ask for a fried egg on top.
It's a very Australian thing, actually.
Is it?
In Australia, we like egg and beetroot. So a slice of beetroot and a fried egg that it's completely impractical because it's usually soft.
I've never heard of that.
And you open it and
local, right? We
the
have
yolk.
this here.
You do the same?
So, but you asked me about scale.
Yeah.
So this started just in 5 districts in Rwanda. Now, throughout the entire country, there are 30,000 peer mothers, about 75% of them are mothers themselves, who then teach other mothers about good nutrition. You asked about lessons, and there are 4 things that we think are really critical if something is going to scale. Number 1, the government has to be involved from the beginning, because UNICEF will never scale anything. It's governments that will scale things, right? They're the ones who have the reach around the country, the ones who are responsible.
Yeah.
So government has to be involved from the beginning. We have to have the data to show if the thing we're trying out actually works. We have to do the budgeting from the very beginning to figure out if government is going to scale it, can they afford it? Because resources are challenged. And then we have to have a really clear plan. to take something to scale. It doesn't just happen by itself. It needs to be planned properly.
Yeah.
And those are really our lessons on what makes a successful operation go to scale.
And I mean, when you think about that, that scaling is connected to partnership, and it's partnership with each of those elements. And you know, we've had a number of people talking about small entrepreneurs, and that's really important on the innovation starting point. But then as we go to scale, it's about how do you take those things and connect the dots.
That's right, because no single organization will really ever scale anything, even if it's government. They have to do it together with churches or with madrasas that will tell people about whatever the good practice is. They do it together with the media who get the word out. So it's all about partnership at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it's not just about expanding reach, but it's also about deepening impact in the way that we do this. So it's getting that balance right and being able to guide that. And so it's great to have organizations like UNICEF really thinking about this and creating those kind of models to help move that forward and building on those learnings.
Absolutely, very true.
Well, thank you for joining us, and any final words to the audience that you want to get across? Obviously, to think about eggs.
Yes, indeed, that is my final word. Those of you in Rwanda know that we're a little bit obsessed with eggs at the moment. But it is my nutritionists in the audience, Nelson and Josephine. If you have questions about this, ask them, because they will tell you the science. But seriously, if little children under 2 years have an egg every single day, it will take us dramatically forward in terms of reducing stunting, which is a problem not just here in Rwanda, in many countries. So I'm going to have an egg with my burger.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. I mean, to me, it's these simple solutions, but how we can then scale them and using the lessons learned. Really wants to do something that they have to change too many behaviors around. It's much easier to make it enjoyable and delicious, and this is where chefs come together. Okay, so when we talk about some of the indicators around food security and nutrition, there's often big numbers, big data, but it doesn't ever disconnect from families. So when we're talking about this, we're always also talking about people. We're talking about families. We're talking about how this impacts. So when you see reports, when you see these kinds of things, you're actually going back to individuals. And in many families across Rwanda and across the continent, we're not necessarily eating together. We aren't necessarily putting food at the center of our culture, and some of our food pathways are being forgotten. This is because the world is getting busier. It's because we're being pulled in lots of directions. And so our next segment is to talk a little bit about how do we elevate some of African cuisine to a global stage, particularly in Rwandan gastronomy and culinary arts. And so we're going to explore a little bit of the rich culinary heritage of Rwanda and how chefs, local chefs, are bridging the past and the future. And I always like that past, looking back to look forward, because I think sometimes we get fixated on going forward and forgetting the past, and other times we just get stuck in the past, but it's actually about connecting the two, connecting and bridging, taking what is important and we can take from the past and then taking that into the future, and this is key. So today we have the pleasure of speaking with 4 exceptional Rwandan chefs who have collaborated on a new book with the FAO. And this was launched yesterday here at the forum. It's called Uhirambi, Rwanda Gastronomy and Culinary Art. And this book is a part of FAO's broader work. And so this is the actual book that was launched. I only just saw it myself, and it's absolutely beautiful. And it's part of FAO's broader work to promote underutilized climate-resilient crops as a menu of improving nutrition and food security, and join FAO's work with chefs worldwide on promoting sustainable food production, diverse diets, and reducing food loss and waste. So I'm going to ask you to welcome 4 chefs to the stage. And so chefs, if you can start to come up, we have Angelique Iragu, we have Eric Kahunamera.
Yes, Kanyemera.
Perfect. We have Fiona Nisima and Ramadan Sin Dayagala. I got that probably not quite right, but we have a couple of microphones here. And so, thank you so much. Just going to put this beautiful book up here so people can see it. So, Uruhimbi. Uruhimbi. Thank you. Uruhimbi. Can everyone say it? Uruhimbi. Say it once more. I can't hear you. No, louder. Louder. Okay, you're getting close to the loudness of the Nigerians yesterday, but just a little bit. We need one more. Okay, what about the guys at the FAO stand? They need to hear. You have a microphone, we can use it. No, okay. So this book aims to celebrate Rwandan culture and cuisine and spark conversations around food and looking at particularly local and underutilized ingredients. So thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on the release yesterday. It's a real pleasure, and looking through it, it's beautiful. I think you can go to the FAO stand and have a look. Absolutely, and the FAO stand is at the opposite corner at the other end, so you can go and have a look. So can one of you tell me what is the meaning of the title?
Uruhimbi is a place where the milk was placed.
Where the milk was placed?
Yeah, so it has a connotation from the culture, because milk was a very important commodity in the Rwandan cuisine. So it's just like a metaphor to mean culture in the food.
Amazing.
Yes.
So let me ask each of you just to do a quick introduction to yourself. Obviously you're all here and you've been a part of this, you're chefs, but just tell us a little bit more about you. How long have you been chefing, where are you chefing, and what a pleasure of being involved.
Thank you so much, Paul. My name is Kanyemera Eric. I'm the executive chef of Mantis Epic Hotel. It's a hotel which is located in eastern part of the Rwanda. I have more than 10 years of experience. I've been working in different hotels, including even this one that we are in today. I had also an opportunity to work in different countries in Europe, in United Kingdom, as a head chef, where I got also the opportunity to pursue some of the courses that I was impatiently to go through, especially like a vegan diploma, because I always like to create something based on the plant.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So what inspired you to be a part of this project?
What inspired me about this project, because it was about, again, to be connected to where I come from,
yeah,
and share the story through the food.
Yeah.
Like for example, I grew up in Congo. We ate a lot of cassava leaves, isombe. You know, we can eat it from the roots up to the leaves. So I shared the way my grandma used to cook the cassava leaves, and it's one of my favorite food actually, because if I'm in Kigali I have to look, or even in my house we have to eat isombe almost every day. So it was a good time for me again to stay connected with where I come from and pass all those stories through the food.
Amazing.
Yes,
Amazing.
You so much.
My name is Fiona Nisima, and I'm a private chef. I've been a chef for about 5 years. I did my culinary degree in South Korea, in Asia. And when I returned, it was very important that I stayed the community chef. So I don't practice in any commercial kitchen. And when I returned, I pitched an idea that led me here. In USADF through the embassy of the US, and I wanted to teach Rwandans how do you cook with local ingredients but not forgetting about nutrition.
Yeah.
So I wrote a cookbook called Memories at the Table, and that cookbook was limited because it did not go in details of the local ingredients, like we later discovered, like amasaka, which is sorghum. So when I was able to start working, they reached out to me to start writing on this one. It felt like now it was really fitting in what I stand for. How do normal people at home that don't have access in hotels, how can they be able to eat a meal that is delicious but packed with nutritious without costing a lot? Because I did my degree in economics, so I'm always thinking, okay, how can people eat cheaply, delicious, but without dying?
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. And I love how you connected the nutrition with the economics. And I mean, price is a big thing we have to think about, is that you can come up with great solutions, but if they're not affordable, it's a problem. So, no, it's great. Chef.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Angelique Iraguha. I'm coming from northern Rwanda. I'm working of Singita Volcano National Park on title of senior chef. I'm a passionate chef from age of 8. You know, when you are a young girl, you start cooking with your mother and you end up being a chef from a family. So by profession, I have an experience of over 15 years. Yeah, I like cooking and feeding people.
That's great.
Yeah.
And what inspired you to join this project?
Yeah, as a chef, I learned from my mother, my grandmother, my elder. So I hope that with writing, because those people, they're no longer there, if we write something, everyone can read. The future generation can read. So we're not communicating now like verbal from mother to another one. We just write so that people can read and they know what was happening in past. For example, if our grandmother was cooking in Mungure, I hope that young people doesn't know how to cook it. So from the book, they can read and know how Rwandan can eat, and as we cook it in a modern way,
Yeah.
they know in the story, but they can cook in a modern way now.
Thank you. Thank you. Chef.
Thank you so much. Hello everyone. My name is Ramadan Sinaigaya. They always call me Chef Rama, so that's my nickname.
Chef Rama.
Yes. So I'm Rwandan by nationality. So I'm working with Griffith Foods as a culinary chef in charge of Sub-Saharan Africa. I have almost more than 14 years of career. So I started working in different hotels, international hotels like Marriott, Sheraton, Accor, but now I end up being a development chef. So now I'm trying to connect culinary and food science. So I translate the culinary concept into commercial product just to help serve underserved. So I'm part of the team. So we came up with the idea after receiving the information from FAO through Rwanda Arts Initiative that there is a project where as Rwandan chefs we need to contribute, we need to share our skills and knowledge so that the book or cookbook can help Rwandan community to know how to eat, even to meet the SDGs goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. In that book you find some different dishes, and those dishes are based on the local product, local food. Let's take an example of beans. You know, here in Rwanda or in Africa, we cook beans more than 4 hours. So it's not normal because we are using the like firewood and a lot of energy to make the beans being tender. But now with this book. So there's guidance where you can cook beans, like dry beans, within, let's say, 1 hour, because you need to know how to soak beans and the way of cooking. So it will facilitate and help the community how to live sustainably.
I love that you're focusing on the techniques and educating people about them, not only the techniques but also the ingredients. And so there's a lot of ingredients which are being talked about. Sorghum, we talked about that yesterday here on stage. Cowpeas, I think, and spider plants. Lots of different ingredients like this being brought in, but you're also showcasing how to put them together, and I think this is key. I thank you for sharing and for being a part of this book. In terms of what's one thing that people need to know about Rwandan cuisine that you want to share? Maybe you go first and then we'll just come across. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Paul. Rwanda is known by, it's a cleanest country in Africa, no doubt. Yeah, green, people are calm, humble, but our country is clean, but we are not clean in our stomach because we eat also food. So we have our Rwandan cuisine. So we need, as Rwandan chefs, we need to let the world know that in Rwanda there is food. Not only gorillas, but also food. So through this book, you'll find amazing dishes, easy to cook, nutritious, and I hope everyone will enjoy it. Thank you.
Chef?
Yeah, if you see in our book and you read, the ingredients we use is things which people think it's no longer modern. For example, if you tell you to eat sorghum, they're going to say, no, I can't eat sorghum. But if you compare nutrients from sorghum of other things we buy from market, you can see that sorghum is more important in terms of nutrients. So this book will help people, will awake people, especially for youth who think that our ingredients or indigenous crop, which is no longer there, it's important for the cuisine. And again, in terms of economy, you found that people tend to sell what they harvest from the farm, and they go buy something which is influenced by other countries. For example, you can say beans is not nice than meat. I want to eat chicken every day, and you sell beans. So from the book, to educate people will awaken, go back to our normal food. And then when you think that people and always say, oh, local food is simple, just boiling, it's tasteless, let's go buy fried food, complicated food, which even people cannot afford to buy it, people will start coming back to our original food instead of wasting too much money to buy complicated food, which everyone cannot afford.
Yeah, in the book there's all the nutritional details on the different ingredients as well, a lot of information that helps people to learn a little bit more about the ingredients and why you should choose them as well, and not only just how to eat them, but why they're important. So I think this is really key. Thank you, Chef. Any builds? Yeah.
I want to say about two things about the Rwandan food. I think I'll agree with every Rwandan that is here that when people come in the country and ask you what is the local food, you have no answer to say. You kind of think, I actually don't know. I hope now you have an answer. And I'll talk to the people that are visiting us. Research says that most of people, when they choose a destination, they're so concerned about the food experience because they want to see something that is different from other countries, from their country of origin. So now it is a good time for tourists. I think in the book you saw the brand Visit Rwanda. So now the people that are going to come from other countries are going to be able to experience our food, because it's not only about the food. Rwanda as a nation, everything connects with storytelling. So now this is going to be time to hear stories behind our food. Why the sorghum? How was it eaten? What, like you asked, why uruhimbi? Why ichivuguto? How does it connect now to our culture and heritage? The other thing, I'm imagining that we're going to see different pop-up things that are going to bring the government money, they're going to improve people's economy. As like I said, I'm an economist, I'm always thinking, what is there for the normal person?
Yeah.
I'm hoping to see a Rwandan restaurant in New York, another Rwandan restaurant in India, who knows? Because now that it's out there, people are going to get more interested. When in Migongo, I think you've seen the black and white patterns on design. When the campaign to start Made in Rwanda started, they identified the black and white patterns because they were very significant in our culture on houses and all that. And people didn't know them.
Yeah.
But now you'll find in different restaurants, on shirts, and now it has become something very popular. So I'm calling on everyone, join this campaign. Let's put the Rwandan cuisine out there. It's for your benefit, for my benefit, and for everyone in the world. We have a lot to offer.
Thank you. Chef Eric.
Yes, thank you so much. This book, it was a good time again to honoring and share again the story of our community where we live in. Like for example, pumpkin, it's an ingredient that here in Rwanda we use most, especially by boiling or maybe mixing with some peas or something like that. But we try to show or to write a recipe here, show that you cannot only eat pumpkin by boiling. You can even make some nice croquette out of pumpkin.
Yeah.
So we are trying to celebrate our local and seasonal ingredients to show the world that in Rwanda we have also a gastronomy, but also at the same time not to forget where we come from, the community that we are coming from. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. And thank you to all of you for sharing your incredible insights, your stories. There's so much importance in celebrating the diversity in cuisine, and to think about flavor, to think about culinary, economics, all of these connections. I love that you've been talking to us about economics as well. To look at as we come to a particular place and culture. And so having the FAO working with the culinary arts, Rwandan culinary arts, to bring this book together, I think is an important milestone to actually help and a step in the journey to help drive forward and to capture some of the past and the future. And so it's a celebration, and you can purchase the book from the Rwandan Arts Initiative, with all profits going back to supporting the work of promoting Rwandan cuisine. And there's going to be a copy of the book at the FAO Pavilion if you want to go and have a look through or talk to some of the chefs who will be around. But please give them a big round of applause. Thank you so much. Okay, maybe we do it after, or yeah, we'll do a picture afterwards, huh? With the book. Let me give you the book. Do you want to hold the book for us? I don't want to lose it. So we're going to now, we're going to transition. There's so many different elements to this food conversation, and there's a lot of conversation to me is really critical around food, because it helps us to tell stories. It helps us to communicate where does food come from. It helps us to communicate all of the people involved in bringing food together. And one of the ways in which we've done that recently is we have a new podcast that's launched called Future Fork. I sat down with Agnes Kalabata, Dr. Agnes Kalabata, the president of AGRA, yesterday and recorded an episode which just released if you want to check it out. And in that she talked about some of her priorities and what her outcomes she really was hoping for from the summit. And anytime I talk to Agnes, it's always insightful and just brings a sharp focus to what's needed and how do we get there. And so she put some really good points in there. So I encourage you to have a look. You can find it on Spotify or on Apple. And if you're not sure, we've got some cards here. You can scan QR codes, or the team will share that with you as well. So we're really excited to now move into a new section. So we've been talking about this acceleration, this scaling, and how do we drive impact. And when we do that, sometimes it can be done in different ways. And what we're talking about today is how do we do that in some of the everyday choices we have? How do we do this in what we put on our plates? And sometimes I was told when I started this work, don't try and tell people what to eat, because everyone's an expert in food. Everyone has their own thing they like, that they grew up with, that brings them joy, that they eat when they're happy or when they're sad, and it's up to us to then adapt the product to be more healthy, to be better for the farmers, to do these sorts of things. And so we've looked at beans, and we've said, how can we take forward beans? And so we're going to have a challenge that's going to be a bit of fun. Beans are a big family, which is very diverse, very important here in Rwanda, and they're more than just a nutritious ingredient. They're also a powerful tool in our efforts to combat malnutrition, to improve food security, and to promote regenerative agriculture. And so how we think about integrating them into dishes that already people are buying. Not just the bean dishes, but dishes that people are already buying. And our daily diet is very important, and I believe can make a tangible difference to the well-being and health of communities around the world. And so we're going to scale up, think about this, and we're going to think about an iconic dish that globally is eating called a burger. And when we started doing this, we said, should we be promoting burgers? And we had a lot of debate in our team about this, because it was like, is this a good thing? And then we said, actually, there are people going to eat burgers always. They're going to choose burgers because they're convenient. They're an easy food. They're attractive in that way. So how do we make them more nutritious, more engaging in this way? And so we've got a bean burger challenge. And we're going to use some high iron beans that have been provided by some of our friends at AGRA, that have Nyota beans. And these is a variety that was developed with the PABRA and the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization. And so we've guys are hungry because I'm looking at the size of these burgers. They're big, and you've got to eat 4. So maybe we'll slice them up for you so you can share. I think otherwise there's going to be some challenges. So we're going to have a judging panel here, and so I'm going to just introduce them and ask them to say hi, and then I'm going to talk to the chefs, and then I'm going to come back to you to get your feedback and comments on as we go. So first we have George here, George Okoyo Apaka. Is that correct? No.
No, it's correct. It's correct. Okoyo Apaka.
Okoyo Apaka.
Yes.
Perfect. And you're the program lead for agriculture at the MasterCard Foundation. Please, what are you looking forward to in these burgers?
Thank you very much. I hope you're Paul. Did you say?
Yes.
Yes. I'm quite pleased to be here, and I've also tasted some Rwandan cuisine. Somebody talked about ikivuguto. That milk is very nutritious. Today I'm going to taste the beans. Why do I like beans? Beans is a crop that is loved by young people because it's a short cropping cycle, highly nutritious, but also high margin. And you can do intercropping. So in terms of regenerative agriculture, it's a very fundamental value chain that at the foundation we really like. And I'm quite encouraged that young Rwandese have gone out to learn very, very technical skills to make the burger and make other food. But also I'm quite keen, also very interested in the fact that one of them talked about, does it make economic sense?
Yes.
Is it cheaper for somebody to buy? Because Sometimes you can make very nice food, but it's not affordable.
Yeah.
And especially when you want to talk to the underserved, people who ordinarily cannot be able to afford, especially young children, young mothers who require the nutrition. So quite excited to be here.
Thank you.
I'm not sure whether I'll eat the entire 4, but at least I'll be able to taste. Thank you so much.
It's smelling great. And we've also got Katie Taft, who is the communication lead at Bill and Melinda Gates Agricultural Innovation.
Thanks, Paul. So I'm really excited and I'm very hungry. I don't know if
Perfect.
for burger hungry. So happy to share with whoever wants to. So at Bill and Melinda Gates Agricultural Innovations, we're really focused on crop innovations. And one of our core crops is cowpea. And cowpea has a personal connotation, as you were saying before. We all take those personal stories. And cowpea is based here in Africa. 90% of cowpea production it happens here in Africa, and 200 million people rely on cowpea. And I don't know if I have any Ghanaian or Nigerian colleagues in the audience, but I guarantee they will raise their hand and say they eat cowpea every single day. So it's a really important crop in that region. And for me, we know it as the black-eyed pea. And for us, it is good luck to have right after midnight on New Year's. So we always make sure that we have cowpea or black-eyed pea on our plates then. So really excited to promote the cowpea. I'm rooting for the cowpea. I've got lapel pins up here if you want. I want to create a fan base for the cowpea. That's my role. So I'm looking forward for the cowpea to be secretly hidden, hopefully, in one of these burgers. Thanks, Paul.
Perfect. And I'm also going to invite, Juliana, I'm going to invite you to be a judge as well.
All right.
Is that all right?
Sure, happy to be.
We introduced you a bit earlier, but what are you looking forward to now that you found out 30 seconds ago that you're going to be eating a burger now?
I like something with flavor. I hope there's some herbs. I hope there's some spices in the recipes up there. Not too mild, not too crazy with the chili. In Rwanda, we have a special chili that for me is way too much, but a bit of flavor would be good.
Perfect. And last but definitely not least is my good friend Afshan Khan, who is the Scaling Up Nutrition Movement Coordinator, and pleasure to have you. What are you looking forward to here?
Thank you so much, Paul, and thank you for inviting me to this burger tasting. I'm really excited by the opportunity. First of all, I'm hungry, but secondly, I think I was really excited to listen to the chefs, partly because of the commitment to nutritious, healthy food at an affordable price, but partly because I think there's a whole set of opportunities on employing young people around the gastronomy agenda.
Yeah.
And it's such a movement globally, and to attract tourists, yes, but even to promote the cultures. And I'm excited by the cookbook. I think the shift to indigenous crops is really going to help us both on the nutrition side, on the resilience side, and on the climate mitigation side. So I'm thrilled to see this part of, I would say, the movement, where we can bring together civil society and advocacy for traditional foods and ways of eating, address the issues on encouraging micro, small, and medium enterprises, and really see how do we position nutrition at the heart of everything we do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, good to have you guys with us. I'm going to check in on the chefs and how these burgers are coming together. So we've got two chefs kicking off to do the first round of burgers, and then we're going to have two more. They're working in teams a little bit, and so it's good to see support and sportsmanship between them, even though they're competing. It's good to see. So we've got Chef Moya here. Chef Moya, how are you?
Good.
Where are you from?
I'm from Nigeria.
And I can't hear you. Is it on? Yes.
Can you hear me?
We can't hear you at all.
Is this better? Okay,
Oh, that's better.
Done.
You're from Nigeria?
Yes, I'm from Nigeria, so that cowpea discussion is very much up my street.
So have you got cowpeas hiding in here?
Kind of, different varieties. Yes, we have some varieties of cowpeas in here.
That's awesome. And I'll come back and you can tell me a little bit about what you've got. And Chef Claude, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Where are you from?
From the world.
You're from the world?
Yes.
Now, originally from Burundi, based here in Kigali, Rwanda, for the last 9 years. Professional chef by trade for over 20 years or so. Still have the fire burning, the passion of doing a good thing, and obviously now driven with making good food, nutritious, and using ingredients that are good for the soil and obviously for human. Yes.
So tell us what's your burger? Give us give the judges a little bit of description and everyone else.
Well, the burger is made of iron-rich beans, and as we say in the kitchen, I gave it a lot of love. So I try to make it taste good. So I have some mixed pumpkin in. I have zucchinis. I have eggplant mixed with the beans, and some mushrooms, local mushrooms.
Oh wow, tastes good, sounds good. And what's in your burger?
So my burger has a mix of different beans and underutilized grains. So we have the high iron beans, we have black and red cowpea, we have fonio, and then we just have some onions and aromatics in there. And then it's going with chili jam that's made from tree tomato, so the local tomarillo, and passion fruit.
Ooh.
With some fresh tomatoes and lettuce in there as well.
Have you done this one before?
Nope.
So there's a bit of an experiment?
Yes, indeed.
Has it got a name?
Not really, we'll see. Maybe we'll name it. We'll name it during this process.
No, this is great. And so, I mean, one of the things where both Chef Claude and Chef Moyo are talking about is high iron beans. High iron beans are not just any beans. They're what's called biofortified. So biofortified is not a modification, it's a breeding process in which it brings out the traits through crossbreeding. And we had Jean-Claude Rubiago talking on day one, and he was talking about this crossing of different plants to get certain types, certain characteristics to go forward. So these beans are packed with essential nutrition and nutrients like iron and zinc, and this is really critical for combating anemia, for boosting immunity, and supporting both physical and mental health. And so they're also a very affordable way to get high iron and to get protein into your diet. And so this is really key. Moyo, in terms of how you prepped your beans, can you tell us a little bit about what you did? So people talk about soaking, but what did you do with your beans?
Yeah, so we soak them overnight.
Why is that important?
So that they're softened and you don't have to cook them for hours and hours. So it took like an hour top to cook them until they're nice and soft. Then I combined all the various beans, we mashed them, added in the aromatics, and formed it into the patty. And to help with the binding, I added some bean flour, so that it stays together more like a burger.
And how does also soaking help with breaking down and improving the ability for your gut to absorb these beans?
Yeah, so it makes it more digestible. Some of the starches in there, the fibers, they're easy. It becomes more easy for your body to digest and attack them.
Yeah, and this also helps with your glycemic index in terms of not spiking through, helping breaking down some of those fibers, and this is really key as well. Have you worked with these beans before, Chef Claude?
This first time actually.
First time?
Yeah.
How did they go?
As a burger, I was very amazed by the texture.
Yep.
And the taste, and so obviously knowing the nutrition values of the iron rich, so it makes it even more special.
Okay. Are we getting
dressing? I had aioli, paprika aioli.
Yep.
Dressing for the bread.
It's not maybe tricky.
And
Okay, we'll try.
mushrooms and eggplant and zucchinis.
Perfect.
The topping, yes.
Okay. Are we getting ready for tasting?
We are ready.
Yes.
You're ready?
Yes.
But we're going to need to slice these, huh?
Sure.
There is no way these guys are eating 4 burgers that size. And there's too many other friends that want to try as well. So we're going to slice these up.
I hope they stay together.
I hope you guys are hungry. So, we're slicing them through at the moment. one of the things that last week we just did was a burger challenge in Nairobi, where there was I think 60 restaurants participating across Nairobi using bean-based burgers. So they normally run a burger week, but this time we got them to do a bean burger week. And so they put bean burgers, and it was pushed across. It was actually trending on X in the top 5 or something across Nairobi as well last week. So this is something that's part of a bigger campaign that connects to really see how do we get more people eating beans. Thank you, Karen, for getting some napkins. I was just sitting there thinking how this could be. Yes. Okay, we're going to start off with Chef Moyo's burger is coming around. So, Chef Moyo,
Yeah, I'm done.
as you're cutting up some for others to try,
Yes.
what should the judges be experiencing in their mouth as they engage in your burger?
So really what I was going for, can you hear me? Hello? I can go? What I was going for was contrast. So the beans have a lovely creamy texture, but you want some crunch in there. So we have some of the passion fruit seeds. We have some crispy onions in there. You have freshness from the tomatoes and the lettuce. And you have a little bit of spice, because if it wasn't there, I don't think I'll really be Nigerian. So a little bit of spice in there for you.
Okay, please feel free, dig in. You've got cameras in your face eating burgers. Nothing can go wrong. Your media teams will be saying, nothing's going to go wrong here. Okay, and we've got some
and I
more
need to give a disclaimer, because I use a spice that actually has some peanuts in it. So if anyone has any allergies.
Okay. Just somebody's about to, yeah. So we're just saying if there is a spice has maybe a little bit of peanut on it. So if you've got a peanut anaphylactic, we'll do it. No, but I'm just saying if we pass this around. Claude, is there any allergens in yours?
Come again?
Any allergens?
No, no, I don't think so.
No? Okay. We've got a microphone here we can give you guys.
Passion fruit.
Passion
so
fruit?
it's passion fruit, the cherry tomato tomarillo, and some ginger and chili. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. You're getting quarters, so that's one full burger. So I think that's a better way. Okay. Any comments on or first reactions? Or questions for the chef?
Cut the rest for the.
I think this is really delicious, and for a Nigerian to cook food with this chili, I'm quite excited. I thought I would be weeping by now, but
Well, I did my best.
Chef, this is amazing. The chili jam is just like, I love the passion fruit, little bit of kick, sourness to it.
Yes.
Delicious. And you are going to make the humble cowpea humble no more.
Thank you so much.
Also really delicious. In Kinyarwanda, the most important word I've learned is bimjaboshe, which means delicious, I think. Did I get that right? Sort of? But it is delicious. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. I'm too a fan of the chili jam. Being of Indian origin, if it doesn't have spice, so it's a wonderful taste, and the bean piece is great. And listening to Paul and about the nutrient density, I think the iron piece on the beans is key. I too suffer from anemia, so the fact that we've got a burger that can both taste good and address some of the micronutrient deficiencies, it's wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, we're
Chef Claude.
We've got a few other tastings to go out. Chef Claude, how's it going? Got it all prepped?
It's going well.
So if you would like to try one of the burgers and you're not one of the judges, there is some burgers coming around. But we have also...
Charles.
That's coming.
Charles.
And Karen, can you make sure they've all got water?
I saved one for the picture. I saved one for the picture.
If you guys need any water, this is the second burger coming to you guys. So Chef Claude,
yes,
they're about to taste this. Anything you want to put across?
Hopefully I can spread the love through the burger. Like I said, It's about seasoning. I didn't overpower. There's no, how can I say, chili or rice. It's well balanced, hopefully.
Perfect. The love. And I think love is something that is so important in food. And I think when you go to a restaurant, when you engage, even at home, sitting around the table, food is an expression of love. And it's about bringing ingredients together in a way that communicates love. And so thank you, Chef Claude, for bringing that love into that burger. We've got some of the other chefs trying. We'll see. Chefs are the hard judges for other chefs. We often go out for dinner with a group of chefs, and sometimes it can get a little challenging. Sometimes it's very good, and sometimes it can be challenging because you're never quite sure where it's going to go. Feedback is often held quietly, but you tell from the plates. So we're going to be switching over to other chefs, but we're going to get any feedback on Chef Claude's in just a second.
Okay.
And we'll also hear from the chefs what they thought. Which one are you guys trying? Chef Moya? Okay. Any thoughts? Eric? You're perfect. Oh, this is tough competition. Kieran's looking a bit challenged if you said perfect. You like fonio and beans. Yeah, I thought that was interesting, Chef Moya. You were kind of going for extra points, I think, just by adding, another amazing millet in there. I think this combination, we had also local ingredients, passion fruit, tree tomato, which is a very, unique ingredient here. Chef Claude using seasonal ingredients like pumpkin and bringing those in. I think this is really key, and that also is really helping with the flavor and taste and everything else. And so, yeah, I'm just not sure where my microphone has gone. Lavender? Any comments from judges on Chef Claude's or questions?
Chef Claude, loved the freshness of
Thank
the
you.
ingredients.
Thank
really
you.
nice, came out. And the aioli was lovely.
Thank
so
you.
spectacular.
Yes.
And I think it was a light burger, which was also nice, not so dense, and quite delicious. So thank you very much for introducing us. And as Paul said, so much of food is love.
Thank
and
you.
in many cultures, that's how mothers, families show love. So I think it came through. Love the burger.
Thank you. Because at the essence of every chef here, there's the passion of feeding people. So we try to, whatever we do, we still try to convey that. Thank you.
Also very delicious. This one may be a different balance of ingredients, maybe healthier in a different way from variety, because you said you put lots of vegetables in it. Is that right? Thank you.
Thank you.
Chef, I'm glad I'm sleeping alone tonight with the use of onions. But in all seriousness, delicious. And the eggplant, you said you used eggplant in it, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, it was, I don't know how you made it sweet in such a short amount of time, but it was really soft and sweet, and it really added something to it. I also think it felt more than my favorite cowpea. It felt a little bit more like a burger texture. So if you're looking for a good alternative, this was a great.
All right. Thank you. I will keep that in mind.
Thank you very much, Jeff. I think this is exciting. This is very nice, and I just got some nice taste into my mouth. So I don't know all the nutrients you put in there, but very nice.
The main ingredient is love.
And I felt it, going very nicely down my throat. And I mean, for both of them, I will now be walking to the restaurant and asking for a beef burger, not beef burger.
Yes.
And I think this is about experimentation, and it's about what I think chefs do so well is they're bringing ingredients together, but they make choices. And I think we need to think about this to address some of the challenges. It's choices. And when we think about how do we do that, I think there's choices that can be good for people and planet, or there can be choices which just maintain. And so it's about how we find that. Just as we're changing over with the chefs, Afshan, I'm just thinking about the challenges of some of these nutritional problems, and Scaling Up Nutrition movement is really addressing action and trying to work together with groups like UNICEF and others to bring this together. How big a problem is things like anemia?
What can I do for you, Chef?
Part of the reason I'm excited by these iron-dense, nutrient, biodiverse crops, as you mentioned, is the fact that anemia rates on the continent among women are at about 47%.
Wow.
So we really see high rates of anemia, and we haven't been able to move the dial on anemia for more than 20 years. So there are a few things that are coming up. One is obviously a single pill that can help with micronutrient deficiency amongst pregnant women, and that's a maternal micronutrient supplementation. But obviously, having food that is nutrient dense and higher in iron is a much more delicious way to tackle the anemia problem. And I think as we see burgers, and I think you mentioned it, if it's low cost and affordable, and it's available also for young kids, we're seeing anemia rates amongst children as well that are fairly high. So I think this, it's much more effective to get your nutrients through your food. So if we can encourage diversity in the diets and really encourage better nutrient-dense foods, and as you said, because we know that beef burgers in particular, the carbon offset from one of those is fairly significant. And we're encouraging local nutritious crops, whether it's cowpea or whether it's others. I think it's a win-win. So really looking forward to how the reliance on indigenous foods can help tackle some of the micronutrient deficiencies.
I think that's so important, and I think this is one of the real challenges, I guess, for people in working on this nutrition side is how do you shift diet? And I think we've had a lot of conversation about is everyone eating noodles now? Like, why are these noodles? And sometimes when I think about that, it's about convenience. And so it's about people getting busy. We're not intending to eat badly, but it's just what's accessible. It's shelf stable, it's there. It's cheaper, the price, and it makes them feel full. And so we have to be thinking about how do we not only shift diets to more diversity, but also how do we shift these kinds of foods that people are familiar with to become more nutrient dense, and to be able to, when they are eating them, go and choose the bean burger and actually go, you know what, it's better. I know in my household we make a bean burger, and we've started making it, and our kids at first were like, what is this that you've bought? Now they will not eat animal-based burgers. They only want this. It's got sweet potatoes, it's got black beans, it's got rice, it's got a whole bunch of herbs, and they choose, and then their preference is that. So then they go out and they want that. So I think this is really key, and the micronutrients are key, but it's also fiber. Fiber is very important in diet, and we often miss that when we just focus on protein or animal proteins particularly, and so I think this is key. So we've got two other chefs who have just joined us. Hi. Chef Kieran, how are you?
Muted. Very well, thank you. How are you?
And where are you from, Chef Kieran?
From Nairobi.
Is there any Kenyans here?
Yes.
I can't hear you.
He has to shout.
Yeah, well done. Good
Two
job.
Kenyans.
Yes. Yes. So you're from Nairobi?
Yes.
And you run a restaurant?
Restaurant and a couple other food businesses.
Awesome. Are you excited about today's challenge?
I am. I'm a little bit stressed because my burgers haven't made it up here from the kitchen. So, but they'll get here. At some stage. So you might just be eating a toasted bun.
Okay.
That would be my.
So when they arrive, what would they have looked like?
Sort of like that shape and about that thick and like
So what were you looking at?
I went for just the high iron beans. For me, if you think about a burger, it's got to have that taste of the barbecue. So I smoked the beans. So you got a slightly smoky flavor through that. I went slightly Asian with it. So I made some sauerkraut And you've got a minted Asian sauerkraut there with some crispy ginger. The reason I threw the sauerkraut in is I think the idea of fermentation in ancient arts preservation, extremely healthy, can turn, cabbage, I don't know what the waste in the cabbage value chain is across the East Africa, but I'd say it's probably significant. And, if people could learn how to make sauerkraut, it's such a simple thing to make. Cabbage, 3% salt, 2 weeks, done. And you've got something that will last forever and get healthier and healthier and tastier and tastier. So I've put some sauerkraut in there. It's not quite had enough time because I made it when I got to Rwanda, but it's still not bad. It's got, fermented food is that perfect balance of sour and sort of flavor, really. That's that sour flavor, which I think really resonates with the palate.
And you were talking yesterday about the fact that some of these foods also don't require refrigeration.
Yeah, key. So some pickled cucumber as well. I suppose you call it a gherkin, but I've done it slightly different, salted and then pickled. Again, I will stay for a very, very long time outside of the fridge. They've arrived. Look at them. You have burgers. So yeah, it's sort of just a slightly Asian sort of direction. The key is the smokiness. I also use a little bit of sorghum flour on the outside, just to bind it, so to speak. But just to show the versatility of that flour, stay away completely from wheat. So yeah, that's kind of the general vibe. And for me, burger is all about construction. It's a very kind of, engineered product. You've got to have the bun the same shape as the patty. Everything's got to sit very, the simple burger is no longer simple. If you look at the world and what happens in a burger, people are going to town on these things. So I've tried to bring a bit of that.
I love it.
Slightly Asian, slightly smoky.
Let me let you get cooking. Chef Pinky.
Hello.
How are you?
Dark and lovely.
She got a bigger clap last time. Is anyone... What did you say?
Dark and lovely.
So, Chef Pinky,
yes.
How are you?
I'm fantastic, and how are you?
I'm very good. So, you're from South Africa?
Yes, I'm from South Africa, Mzansi.
And what have you made for us today? Because I know you like to play around with these kinds of ingredients.
Yes. So today, does anybody has ever had a 3-bean salad? So today we're going to have a 3-bean burger. Okay, high iron bean burgers. So what I've done is I have mixed 3 types of beans, and from there what I've done to make sure that I get flavor in it, I roasted some garlic in the oven and the puree from the garlic, then I've mixed it there. And then we have onion 3 ways. So I have caramelized onion inside the mixture, and then I have this pickled onion, and I have onion puree. So as you know, for me, it's all about taking one ingredient and scaling it up, making more components out of it. So I didn't have time. I was going to make onion dust. So onion dust will come from the onion leaves. So you just roast it in the oven and then you liquidize it, and then it could be like a seasoning. So nothing gets thrown away. Okay, so yesterday I had chickpeas in my menu, and the liquid that was left over, I made mayonnaise out of it. So aquafaba mayonnaise. So if you can see, it's nice, it's thick. There we go.
And that's vegan, isn't it?
That's 100% vegan mayonnaise.
Using a waste product.
In essence, you'd be putting it in the drain.
Yeah.
But here we go. You can use it for sandwiches. You can use it for toppings for burgers. It's versatile. You can do anything with it.
I had somebody reach out to us asking for aquafaba supply. Mm-hmm. And they've set up a whole vegan mayonnaise business, and they were wanting to, because we have a bean campaign, they were saying, can you source gallons and gallons of aquafaba. I said no, but there is a business opportunity for somebody there because the vegan market and making mayonnaise, it's really growing. This whole idea of allergens is really interesting because when you can make an ingredient like a vegan mayonnaise and you have that on your menu, it saves having to do substitution in your restaurant. And for chefs, anything that where you've got to personalize and substitute is money and time, because it's staff time, it's money in terms of other ingredients. So there's many restaurants which are trying now to make things allergen free across the board and trying to reduce that. And that can be, but also maintain the same flavors and the familiar tastes as that goes. So I can see the unique construction going on here with Chef Kieran. That's looking great. Oh, I can smell
sesame.
Sesame? So what did you put, sesame on the outside?
Just on the outside texture, you know, hello. Yeah. Burgers are very textural things, so you've got to build layers, build textures, so that's just sort of the entire plan here. So,
yeah. So you put the sesame on the outside, the sesame flour or sesame?
No, sesame seeds.
Sesame seeds, and then just fry into, okay. Yeah. Very interesting. Okay, we're starting to pull these together, which is great, and we're going to get them out to you judges. Hopefully your stomachs are settling for round 2, and we're going to do that. Where have you had your best burger? Have a think about that in the world. Have you got a best burger in the world? Anyone want to comment on their best burger?
It could be here.
Could be here.
It could be here. So far, 2 for 2. It's going to be really tough. So.
Yeah.
And I mean that in all honesty. And I'm a veg. Like I don't eat animal meat, and so animal products, I should say. And so I think you know, for me, this is like super exciting and I'm loving the mayonnaise. I can't wait to taste the mayonnaise. The vegan mayonnaise, that's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, Chef Pinky is all about zero waste as well. And
it is just like mayonnaise.
Okay, we're getting this together. Any other comments from the judges or any questions from the audience for any of the chefs?
You know, one of my favorite ways to cook a burger is on a grill in the backyard.
Sorry,
One of my favorite ways to cook a burger, a meat burger, is on a grill in the backyard, on a braai.
Yes.
So I'm curious, for a bean burger that has a slightly different consistency, will it still hold up on the racks of a grill, or does it work better on a pan?
I mean, it does work better on pans for sure, but to what you were saying earlier on, if you want a burger that will hold together, you could bind it with egg, and immediately the egg would start to coagulate and hold it together much better. There are no eggs in these, but that's one way of doing it, and it's another great way of getting eggs into sort of these foods. So you need to kind of have a slightly different recipe, but it can be done for sure. Yeah, and I would say probably coarser, chunkier, bound with egg, maybe some sorghum flour or another flour just to hold it all together, and then you'll get quite a completely different texture of burger, but it will definitely work. So you just got to make sure, like anything, the grill doesn't stick, because if it sticks, you've had it. Yeah.
I've seen that done, not by myself, no. With bean burgers, sticking them on grills and then going straight through. You learn very quickly, but then it is one of those. We've got a question here.
Thank you so much. My name is Ger, working with USAID Hingaunke here in Rwanda. Just want to recommend SDG2 and UNICEF and the chef for the commendable job, the good opportunity you are trying to give out to the community about providing the safe, nutritious foods in the communities. I really thank you for that. And I just have one question. What are the challenges? Like, I know you play a big role in availing this food on our plates. Like, especially on you play a big role on procurement of food. So we want to have safe food, nutritious, on our plates.
Nice.
That are affordable. But I'd like to know, like, what are the main challenges you face as chefs, especially when you want to prepare food, nutritious foods?
Yes.
What are the big challenges you face on day-to-day activities? And I want to maybe translate. I know that most of the chefs we have seen here are from the big hotels and but how can we translate this to the local restaurants and the local hotels? How is it feasible? How can it be translated to the local communities? I'm always curious. I'm always worried or have concern of the food we eat in these local restaurants, that sometimes we find that it's not safe and not nutritious. How can we maybe influence these local chefs so that we have safe, nutritious and affordable food on our plates? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Do you want to say anything about the pink?
Yeah.
Yes.
As soon as, just bring it when you can.
Testing. Okay, good. Okay, I always say start with what you know. Start with what you know, your traditional food, then from there you innovate. And once you innovate, you know what is expensive, what is not expensive. And for you, if you want items not to be expensive, it has to be local and it has to be seasonal food. Because if you are using ingredients that are not in season, they are expensive. So for you to make sure that your menu or your dishes are economical, make sure that you use seasonal foods.
Thank you. We've got Chef Kieran's burger out with the judges. Anything you wanting to say?
I mean, enjoy it, please. That's well. I'll wait for
you made this one before?
No.
So how did you anything that you're experiencing through the
when you make when you soak beans and boil beans, they retain actually more liquid and moisture than you think. And one of the ways to then, once you've soaked and cooked them and you want to make a bean burger top tip, you dehydrate the beans in the oven, crush them, stick them in the oven for about 40 minutes. They will reduce the moisture content, which means you have to use less binders and less sort of other stuff in it. So I used smoke dried them in a sense. I used smoke to dry them. That's the way I kind of did that. So you've got to process, add more flavor. And I think that was maybe I woke up this morning and thought, let's do that. Why the hell not? Let's try it. So I used it's a Rwandan hay smoked bean burger. Sorghum hay.
Amazing.
I mean, I just found some sorghum stalks in the kitchen and used it. It sounds way more fancy than it is. But yes.
Please, Joe.
Yeah, so I think I should have asked the other chefs as well, but based on the question you just asked, can each one of you explain to us how much would it cost? Like, what she's preparing in the restaurant, how much would the recipe they put in cost if somebody was walking to a restaurant to have this?
And it's a really good question, and I think it's something maybe gets missed in this conversation a lot. It's just the disconnect from what people can actually afford, where the people who most need this nutrition, what can they actually afford, and how do you translate this, as was asked just now, how do you make this relatable and affordable to people in that space? Look, you don't necessarily need to have sesame seeds and ginger and things like that, but bread, very readily available. Salt, very readily available. Beans, readily available and affordable. Cabbage, available and affordable. And just with those, and onions and garlic, readily available and affordable. Just with those ingredients, you can already create a dish that is palatable, nutritious, and so maybe that's some of the work we have to do, is to say, right, we can do this really fancy stuff, and then maybe we bridge the gap and make it more relatable from a cost and maybe flavor point of view for the people who do need it the most in that space. But you're not a million miles away from making this affordable for the people who need it the most, nutritionally, that is.
Yeah. I think one of the things with the Chefs Manifesto Network, we have chefs that will then go, and we've taken them to school meal programs with the WFP. We've been out into rural communities where they've had to take fine dining skills and then look at how do you apply them. but there is surprisingly a lot of interesting techniques which are not being used. So people are not soaking beans, for example. I was in Tanzania 2 years ago after the African Food System Forum with 2 chefs. And we were there out in a community that was severely under water pressure, drought. They eat lots of beans. We went to a school. They were cooking the beans from early in the morning at 7 a.m. and feeding by 3:30, 4 o'clock the kids to have their first meal. All under wood. Respiratory problems for the people cooking because they're in a smoky hut. I couldn't see any firewood because there were no trees left anywhere. And they were cooking and boiling the beans. And the chefs there were like, why aren't they soaking the beans? I don't understand. So the next day they were going out to a Maasai community to cook with them. And they said, okay, can you call ahead and can you ask them to put the beans in water so that when we get there we can make this happen a bit quicker, save some firewood, and it'll be a bit more palatable. They did that. The chief said, this is magic. He said, what is going on? Lunch was ready by 11 o'clock. Everyone was standing around going, what do we do? Now there might be other unintended consequences from that because people have a lot of time on their hands. But used heaps less firewood, and it was a simple technique. So one of the things I'm interested in is how do you connect these techniques to communities and how do you also learn? It's a mutual learning. And they learned a lot, these chefs, from the Maasai women, teaching them about their approaches and how they fermented foods and how they maintained them. And so there was this kind of mutuality going on. And I think this is where bringing chefs into the conversation is really key. But that scale question is really important. Before we go to Chef Pinky's Burger, any feedback from judges on the burger?
So I loved the ginger and the sesame seeds. I thought the construct in the palate was great, and I really found it interesting also that the burger held together really well. So I think the sorghum flour that you talked about really made a difference in terms of consistency of the burger.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Also very good. I liked the combination of the softness of the burger and there was some crunch from the cabbage and other things. And is there fresh coriander in it? Yeah, love the fresh coriander.
Testing.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm just checking these things on. Carry on, sorry.
Wonderful, construction. And we were talking about the architecture of the burger, and it did hold together until towards the end it kind of fell apart. But really beautiful. It looked gorgeous. I took a photo of it.
Oh, thank you.
A little selfie with your burger. But I think I love the Asian flavor and that smokiness. That you said you smoked the beans.
Yes. Correct.
That really came through. It was soft, but it was there. It was really good.
So you cook them, mash them, then put them through. It was a rudimentary smoker that I manufactured in the kitchen down there. But and you hopefully get that barbecued kind of, vibe. Thank you.
Very nice. Some very crunchy taste.
Yes.
That leaves it in your mouth.
Yeah.
And I think there are more ingredients than I thought I could see from the food. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we've got Chef Pinky's Burger coming out now.
Yes.
Which is great. So it's coming through. Got one more, and so this is this focus on burgers is really highlighting the high iron beans and really looking at how do you actually create a way to improve the nutrition of an everyday item. And I think this is these swaps or ingredients, increasing the diversity of the different ingredients that are there, but also picking these innovative biofortified crops are really important. And so we're encouraging that. We are running a campaign called Beans is How that was announced by President Kagame here in Rwanda 2 years ago. And this campaign has organizations around the world helping promote beans across over 50 countries. And it's really about creating demand, helping people go, how do we get more beans into diets? It's not to say beans are better than everything else. It's just to say beans are a solution. and they're one of the solutions that we should be thinking about. And so I encourage you to take a bean from over here, put it in your pocket, and just remember the power of simple solutions, because I think these solutions are really critical, and within them they have the power to move forward. So we've, as I mentioned, just had a restaurant push in Nairobi Burger Week. We're also then going to New York for Climate Week. We're actually going to be doing Climate Week in New York later this month, going through to World Food Day, and we're working with the New York City on this. And the New York City is pushing this into all of the institutional partners. So looking at aged care, looking at prisons and school meals to try and get people to eat more beans. So there's these kinds of partnerships working and bringing people together. So this is really key. Come and learn more about that. I'm going to get some feedback on Chef Pinky's burger that's come out. Chef Pinky, anything they should be experiencing as they're digging in?
Okay, so in my bean there is bambara nuts. So instead of using wheat flour, I've grinded the bambara nuts into a flour to bind it. And then there was, as I am a food waste champion, so this is the spinach from Chef yesterday. So instead of using your lettuce, that doesn't have nothing. So I've used the spinach there and then the rocket. So I'm hoping that you will get the crunch and there is some different flavors and I hope that they balance. And then with the mayonnaise, what I did, I mixed it with sweet chili sauce. So to make a sweet chili mayo.
Thank you, Chef Pinky. Any feedback on Chef Pinky's burger? Having been a food judge, I know this is actually quite challenging to do. So thank you.
It's very intimidating. I mean, like getting like this amazing, exquisite food. I love the mayonnaise. I am always looking for like a plant-based mayonnaise. I've never tasted it. That tasted like mayonnaise. I love it, and I love the food waste element that you have going on with us. It's delicious. And then there was lots of onion. I was a little worried. 3 onions.
Yes.
And I know I'm sleeping alone tonight, but I don't want to sleep alone forever, okay? But I didn't taste that harsh onion flavor. It was like really sweet, and you gave that crunch. Awesome. Loved it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I also love the mayo, partly because I'm
that
allergic
can
to
go.
eggs.
Yes.
So the fact that there was an alternative that I could eat,
Do you want a
great
tin plate? Oh, sorry.
and tasted delicious. And I also liked the balance with the sweet chili sauce. It gave it a nice little kick. And I must say it was delicious. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Also really lovely. I love the spinach. I've never had spinach on a burger before, but I like spinach, so that was really nice.
Thank you.
Thank you for the burger.
Thank you, sir.
Quite interesting mixture of ingredients. And on this one, I got some natural taste of beans. Well done.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Give her a crispy Asian egg.
Okay. Here's a crispy Asian egg.
I recalled what you said, and it would be, bad of us to send you away without having an egg. Sorry?
What's on top?
It's just some crispy ginger. So the egg is sort of lightly fried in ginger oil, and then there's crispy ginger on top. I'm also half Indian, so I can't get away from this stuff. It's good.
Well, thank you. I want to say a big thank you to our chefs, Chef Claude, Chef Moyo, Chef Pinky, Chef Kieran. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming along and being great sports here. We're all winners, really. Yeah. We'll ask the judges afterwards to tell us who they really thought, but I'm not going to expose you here. Because we're all on the same team.
Yes.
But I thank you to the judges for really testing and tasting. I think this is how we all experience food. Food is something that connects us, and we need to be more inquisitive. We need to be adapting. We need to be using these ingredients that are good for people and planet. And all kinds of different types of beans, cowpeas, different elements, a diversity of local and seasonal ingredients, the sorghum, the bambara nut, all of these kinds of ingredients adding nutrient density. And I think this is key. And if we can get in our food, we're gonna see some of those numbers hopefully come down. And I think that's what we're here for, and that's how we can do that. I'm just going to invite Chef Moya, Chef Claude, Chef Pinky and Karen to come up for a quick photo. So I want you guys to all come together. Oh, you're already here.
I'm here. Can I just quickly say something, Paul?
Yes, you can.
So on behalf of the chefs here, all of us chefs from the Chef's Manifesto, you come and stand here. And for whoever's listening, the work that Paul has done is truly incredible. It's extremely powerful. He's really motivating and bringing together an incredible network of chefs. We are all learning off each other every day, and that just cascades and goes all over the place to the whole of the STG2 team, Lavender and wherever they ever are. Karen, the actual engine room behind there, really, Paul needs recognition. These guys need recognition. This is a very, very, very powerful movement, and it needs to be supported as well as possible, and it will really do great things. So I hope I speak for everybody here. I'm sorry for just jumping in, but thank you, Paul.
Yes.
Thank you, and I really appreciate each of the chefs here giving up their time, closing their business or walking away from their businesses each day to come together to really use your voice, to be positive food system champions, to use your social media, your presences and your platforms to do that. And so it's a real pleasure. A special thanks to our judges each for being with us today. Thank you for eating burgers with us. Hopefully this was the most exciting part of your speaking agendas, and hopefully we'll be back. But a big thank you to our chefs who really bring that together. So thank you very much. So that brings us to the conclusion of our Culinary Village stage. I know there's a lot more going on, and we're super excited that you spent some time with us. We are going to continue to do what we can to really raise awareness on the issues that we face across the continent. We know these issues are important, not only around hunger, but also around all of the malnutrition and the agricultural productivity issues that we need. We've talked about how we can innovate, how we can accelerate, and how we can scale. And I think this is really key. We've talked about young people, we've talked about ingredients, we've talked about the importance of science, and we appreciate all of you who have been with us over the time. So let's carry forward these lessons. Let's explore some new ingredients in your kitchens, and I know you all learnt about things from each other, but can we give our chefs a final big round of applause, please?
Thank you, Chef. Thank you, Chef.
And thank you to the audio team, the support crew, and also the Chef Norman and the team from the Radisson who have been such great supports for us over the whole time. So it's been a big team effort. So thank you, everyone. Yeah, we'll do a photo.